In this video, I'll be showing how to do a crankshaft pulley, or maybe a crankshaft seal. You got to remove the pulley to do the front crankshaft seal on this 2.0T TFSI or FSI engine. It's going to be the same thing for the VW type models, only instead of a longitudinal engine, it'll be transverse. So let's climb underneath the vehicle and get started. But before we do that, let's take a look at these tools. You can buy one of these kits that has a crankshaft. This is going to hold the front pulley, the crankshaft pulley, with these 4 pins. They're going to locate inside the pulley where you can get your ratchet. Inside here, you're going to need a 24mm or a 15/16 also fits. And then whenever you pull that bolt out, you're going to put the bolt back in with it. We'll show you. And then if you take the seal out, you can put the new seal in with this. You can buy one of these kits cheap off eBay. It works just fine. So breaker bar on that one to counter hold the pulley. You bust it loose with your breaker bar. On the other one, your ratchet. Here we are underneath the car, and as you can tell, it's been sitting for a long time. Many spider webs have made this engine its home. The reason why I let this car sit so long is because it's got a locked up engine, and that could be for a few different reasons. And I'm trying to catch up on all kinds of stuff, so we'll be knocking out some videos. We'll be getting to the stuff that's been sitting around for a long time. I gotta do a lot of low income videos. So first step is to get this belt off. And I've already got my wrench up here. You can just use a standard, not standard metric wrench, but just a normal wrench, closed inside preferably. Put it on the tensioner up here, and then we're gonna pull back the tensioner, and then we just slide the belt off. See that? Just slide the belt off. All right. Working with one hand here, folks. Hopefully you got some laughter out of all that crap flying in my face. Now, ooh, that pulley is locked up almost. Bearings are in bad shape. Anyway, now we can take our hold down tool, and that's why I like this one, because the one at the dealer, it was just one long arm, and I had to kind of figure out exactly where I was going with it. But this one, these little pegs pop in these holes, and hopefully these holes are not extremely rusted, but usually you can just kind of spin it around here. I like to kind of go like this, and there we go. See that? It popped inside those holes. And then, so if you try to put your ratchet in there first, you'll notice that this is in the way. This is your cooling fan module. So we got to get this 7mm up here, and we got to take this little screw out. And then we can just put this to the side. Of course, we could take the electrical connector off of it. But once we get this bolt out, this just pops out. Of course, there's a little clip right here, but usually you can just kind of pull out that side and then lay this to the side. There we go. Now with that cooling fan module out of the way, we can snake this ratchet up in there with the 24mm socket, and we'll just have to carefully spin it around until it engages. Right there, it engaged. Now you got to kind of hold both of them in place. We're going to install the breaker bar on this little hold down piece. Hold this one, and oops. If you hold this against this, I wouldn't put all the pressure against that, but that can help stabilize it. And then, boy, someone really cranked this bolt down tight. All right, with it loose, you should be able to pull this off. And you want to be careful with this at this point. I can just get this out with my fingers. Got the bolt out, slide the pulley off. This is when we need to get our plastic washer, and we need to bolt it back in, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't need to be super tight, but you do need to tighten this down before you do anything else. So it's all the way on there, and then I'm just going to give it just a little bit more. All right. If you'll notice, this has a keyway in it, so when you put this back together, you really have to be careful to get this notch perfectly lined back up. If you don't, this pulley will sit here and wobble and you'll have an air leak. Very bad. Also, this gear behind here is completely separate from the crankshaft. There's 3 different gears on it. There's the oil pump gear, the camshaft gear, and the balance shaft gear. So if you don't put that bolt back in, that intermediate gear can spin, just like this could be incorrectly positioned. It could pop up. If it spins a little bit, it could be out of time. There's no way that you can fix it without tearing everything back apart. So you definitely just have to put that bolt back in and hold it. Be very careful putting that bolt back in and taking that bolt out. Technically, there is a special tool to make sure, but I've never used it, to make sure that everything stays in place. See these pins right here? That's what this goes in, right here. And then you just unbolt it like this, break it loose. And then you want to make sure that you get the proper torque on this. Now keep in mind the vehicle is not in service position. To get this crankshaft seal out, I normally use a 13mm wrench, and you have to have this plastic spacer in the bolt end to do this, because that's what you're going to be pressing against. So I get the wrench like this, and I carefully walk it in, if I can, with focusing. Carefully walk it in like this, wiggle it around. There we go, see that?